Hey everybody, welcome back. It's me, Mike, with Team Brothership, and we have kind of a different arrangement this time. Instead of my brother and I and John being the lonely, brotherless one in the room, we were actually here with John and his brother Tim. So I'm the John today, the brotherless one. It's a very lonely experience. Do you two want to introduce yourselves, or just sit here silently?
Hey everyone, it's John.
It's been a while since it's been somebody other than me on the show, so yeah.
Hey, this is Tim.
Hey Tim, thank you for joining us today.
I assume that I am the worst brother or the worst brother.
Oh, that's right.
This arrangement.
I'll have to create a whole. Yeah,
there you go.
As you are today.
I'm the best brother today.
You are the not a brother.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna have to totally redo everybody's intro. Or I could just edit this one and change it and just like edit in like your Paul instead. From there.
Just give it like an AI voice changer that turns my voice to Paul's.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Those are flawless.
Instead of just getting Paul, you'll spend $10,000 making him Paul.
I mean, you gotta spend money to make money.
Paul literally called you 5 minutes ago.
He did. I was like, oh, you want to come on the show? He was like, oh, you got 3 people. We're cool.
Well, now I feel like I'm edging Paul out of a job here.
Just for today. So the reason that we have you here is because we are playing Jaki Crush, which is a pinball game, and you are a pinball wizard. That Who song was about you, as I understand it.
I'm at least a pinball, magician's apprentice.
Okay. So you're like Mickey. This will end with like thousands of pinballs just flooding my house.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all just buried under thousands of pounds of little iron balls. So yeah, this is Jaki Crush, which is the third of the Naxat Crush pinball games that came out back in the 90s. The U.S. audience tends to be more familiar with Alien Crush and Devil's Crush on the TurboGrafx, and this was the forgotten child that was on the Super Nintendo, but never made it out of Japan. But when John and I were visiting a mutual friend in Japan like a decade plus ago, I randomly just grabbed this at a store, and it was probably the best thing that I bought while I was over there.
Yeah, you got this like for 50 cents.
It was very cheap. I don't know if it was that cheap, but it was very inexpensive, and it's definitely like an amazing pinball game. So yeah, we're having Tim here to play it and speak to his pinball experiences.
Yeah, I will say, because you've had this game for a while, this game rocks. Its soundtrack is amazing, but I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, yeah, pinball is one of those things that especially video game pinball, I really enjoy it, and I'm usually done in like 2 seconds because I'm terrible at it. So Tim, we're expecting you to max out the score so that we can see the ending of the game today.
And I'm pretty sure I saw somebody
do.
have a YouTube video of this game where he had 2 billion points. So you have to beat that.
Yeah, it takes like 4 hours or something to beat the game.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
let's see what I can do then. Whoop. Okay. Well, that's a great start.
Yeah. That's usually how my first ball goes in any pinball game. It's like how you always have to get hit by the first Goomba in every new Mario game.
Oop. Okay. So I'm gonna try to cradle the ball first, and then see where my best kind of lines of attack are. Except they got blobs, and I'm mostly familiar with playing like physical pinball. I haven't played that many like video pinball titles, so I'm not used to the blobs wandering about. But
less blobs in physical pinball tables.
Yeah, I mean, well, depending on how scummy the arcade is. Oh, that was my fault.
There
could be all sorts of, noxious liquids about, but
That's true. Well, yeah, I mean, one of the things that I wanted to get your opinion on is, you know, obviously, video pinball is going to lack some of the visceral physics of a real pinball table, and you know, and this is an old game too, you know, where they couldn't, definitely just didn't have the technology to totally. That was pretty good. To totally. Oh, you've got the little pagoda there. You unlocked the little.
oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that seemed like defying physics there a little. How I got saved, but I guess that makes sense. So generally, I'd say so. I have okay. So I kind of lied a little bit. I've played a lot of computer pinball in the form of, I think it's called the Pinball Arcade.
Yeah.
On Steam, which used to be amazing with the number of tables you could buy, and I guess their licensing went away, so it's a lot more limited now. But as far as like a pinball simulator, it's actually really good, and I'd really recommend it for whatever tables they have still that you might like. Like my favorite table is Twilight Zone. I played many hours of that, both in real life and on the Pinball Arcade, and it's pretty good as a simulation. The thing that makes playing it on the computer, I mean, the most significant difference is that, well, okay, there's, I'd say, two differences. First is tilting. Tilting just, I don't like on a computer or video game. It just never feels real or never makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
Granted, I'm not good at tilting anyway, so it's not. I don't use it that much.
Oh, you got a boss fight.
Oh, nice. But you know, it's a lot easier to understand how or why. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's these two guys. So do we know that? What is? Am I in hell? Like, what's like?
Are you talking about the game?
That's the question a lot of the guests on our show ask.
So the premise was Alien Crush, and then Demon Crush, and then now Jaki Crush.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So Alien Crush was pinball via H.E. Geiger's The Alien. And then Demon Crush was devils and medieval, etc. And now this one is basically Oni and Japanese mythology. So I don't know who these guys are or what they represent, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
That's a basic of it.
Yeah. So this, I think that's why this one never made it over to the U.S., because they just assumed that Western. Yeah, the boss fights are really hard in this game. They just assume that Western audiences would have no idea. So I don't think you are explicitly in hell, but I think you're kind of fighting a lot of the traditional Japanese, you know, demons and dragons and things. I've run into a few. There's another boss fight right over there. If you can get it in the.
Oh, that open mouth there.
Yeah, all the open mouths are the boss fights, and I think that's kind of what you have to do to beat the table. Is like all of these like guys that are along the sides are boss fights, and once you've cleared all of them, I think that's how you win. I've never even come remotely close to it, so.
Oh, he's gone now.
Oh, damn it. It's just another writhing pile of naked bodies. Oh no, they got the little loincloths on. But yeah, the Alien Crush was definitely a beloved turbo game. It's one of those ones that even people who are less familiar with the turbo graphics or the PC engine will talk about fondly. And Devil's Crush has a little, maybe less so, but a little bit of a following, where I feel like this one, nobody's ever heard of it. Granted, I'm not on a lot of like Japanese boards or things, but
Once again, though, soundtrack is awesome.
it is. Another boss fight, I think, or maybe is it just a score multiplier?
Find out.
No, I guess so.
Okay.
Whoa. Yeah, this is usually when I play how it goes. It's like my first 2 balls are a complete wash, and then my third one survives for a little while.
Yeah, I'm not having much luck now getting out of this lower part of the table.
Yeah, it's tricky with the way that the... oh, there you go.
That's... Okay.
So, Tim, this might... Going back to what you were talking about, having played video games and physical pinball, I mean, what would you say what they generally get right, what they generally get wrong going to a video game from the actual medium?
So, other than tilting, the biggest difference, and this is kind of I would say this is mostly a plus, and this is a universal, okay. I think that's the end of me. The biggest difference between physical and video pinball is that video pinball is always the same. You never have to worry about the table being in any kind of disrepair.
Oh, yeah.
Which is true. Which is good. I mean, like...
Oh, you gotta hit the button to get your bonus.
Oh, okay. Ooh, okay.
You can input your name.
Oops. No! Okay, I guess I'm ZV, period.
You didn't want there to be any debate. You can take another go. We'll call that your practice run.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
It's very magnanimous of you. Yeah, no, so, like, you know, I like, so Twilight Zone I'm the most familiar with, so I'd have strategies that I would use, like, at the beginning of a game, like, you know, to cradle the ball immediately, and then I'd usually, you know, go for this or that kind of shot after that. But then, like, certain tables, like, just the flipper would be really loose, or something else would not work, and they're just like, oh, I can't use that, and I have to come up with some completely other strategy now. Whereas, you know, if they play it on Pinball Arcade, it's the same exact, you know, every single time. So, like, it's way, way, way easier, I think, to get a very high score in a computer, because the consistency is there, and you can just trust certain strategies a lot more.
I mean, if you want, I can, like, take the controller apart and, like, rub some jelly under the buttons so that they'll have a much fussier inputs.
Oh yeah, sure. That's the really. Put some gum under my shoe, please.
Yeah.
And then I'm 90% of the way there.
Yeah. I was gonna make jokes about, like, somebody walking by and spilling his drink on you or something, but, like, there are 3. This is the first time we've ever had everybody recording in the same spot, so we're all kind of, like, clustered around my couch. So that could really be a reality of this experience.
But other than that, I mean, video pinball, I like when video pinball tries to go with... Okay, there you go. Beautiful. Things that you can't physically do.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
If, you know, I mean, Pinball Arcade's a simulator, so it's trying to be as close to the tables as possible, which is what it's good at and is what it should be doing.
Right.
But I like, you know, if I play like a pure... Okay, now, John, why don't you take a go? If I'm going to play like a video pinball table, I want it to have like multiple tables fold out or being transported around in ways that you just could never physically do, because otherwise it's kind of a waste.
Yeah.
So, like bosses and stuff like that, it's all in blobs floating around the screen. It's all good. Although I will say, if it were a real table, I dislike random elements. Like, there's certain tables that'll have like a spinning element on the field that will, the ball will completely change direction. I dislike that because it's just like, I think pinball's kind of hard enough that you should have a table that just reacts, it has the same physical reaction. Yeah, because you can't have strategies without predictability.
Right.
So,
yeah, I mean, being born out of arcades, there is that element of, like, we're just trying to get your money, you know, on even the best of pinball tables.
Oh yeah, sure. And I mean, pinball was originally thought to be like a kind of a form of gambling.
Right.
Yeah.
They had to prove that it had required skill in order to. I forget what state that was in, but you know, there was some famous case where the gaming commission didn't want to allow pinball tables, so they had a guy come in and say to the board, like, "I'm going to shoot the ball up this ramp." And then he shot the ball up that ramp. And they're like, "You can do that?"
Wow. These state regulators have nothing better to do with their time.
It's like Santa Maria. He's a witch. They just took him out and hung him.
This was only 40 years ago.
Yeah, it's like the Simpsons where they're burning people at the stake for saying the Earth revolves around the sun.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I wrote an article about this game years ago now, and where I talked about how that's the best thing about video pinball is that you can actually combine a video game and a pinball machine, so you can have like the crazy, you know, in real pinball there's fewer fiery explosions on the table. Like, that's usually a sign that it's time to go get the manager.
Uh-oh.
Whoa! I think this is the last boss. Oh, it's this guy again.
I think you have to do all of them in order.
No, I've fought some of the other ones, and I don't think I've ever beaten any of them, so...
Again, like, you have to do this for hours.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the ending is like 2 screens long. It's like a Shinto priestess banishes all the demons, and then they're just like, "You win!"
It's the only ending in the history of video games shorter than the Dark Souls 1 ending.
Oh, see, this is the guy the scorpion-looking thing. I guess these are fleas.
This person doesn't seem to mind too much, though.
She's enjoying it, yeah.
They're just scratching my forehead.
Get the eye!
Ooh.
Oh,
I beat it!
Oh my god!
This is not even her final form.
No. Oh no, I'm sure she probably gets like increasingly ghoulish.
She's just gonna get, angry and angry as I get rid of her bed bugs.
I mean, I get mad when people get rid of my bed bugs. It's like, hey, those are mine. What are you doing?
Spent years cultivating them.
Yeah.
You know how many motels I had to sleep in to get these things?
Just one.
Uh-oh. It's getting real now.
I can't tell if this is getting angrier or happier. You know?
They weren't sure either. I don't like that they're killing my bed bugs, but somebody's paying attention to me finally.
I will say that a disadvantage or a temptation that I think some video pinball tables fall into is they make the core table too big. Like, this goes up like in 3 different sections.
Yeah.
And which you wouldn't do that, I think, in real life.
Right.
There is one table called the Pinball Circus that is like literally this big. It's kind of ridiculous. But I mean, the disadvantage is you just end up never seeing that upper section. Whereas I think if you warp around, like going into the mouths and whatnot, that kind of breaks it up in a little bit more easier way.
Right. Yeah. Interestingly, I feel like of the video game pinball tables that I've played, most of the time it is just like one really big table. Like, maybe they'll have a second one that you can pick from, but most of the ones, like all of the Crush games, are just like one really big table.
So is this the kind of the core? Is there another table than this one, or is this kind of it?
This is it, other than the boss tables. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is the whole game. I think nowadays sometimes you might get a few tables. Was it the ones that you're talking about? Were they the Williams pinball tables? Were those the collection, or was it just whatever licensed?
Oh, on the pinball arcade?
Yeah.
So they used to have
high score.
a much more extended, I guess, licensing agreement where they had Williams and Bally.
Okay.
And they had a whole just smorgasbord of kind of great tables from like the 70s through 90s. And it was just tables, and I don't know how their licensing agreement worked out, but it was just kind of this big selection, and then it switched, and now it's like Stern, it's more just by each company, and so you can buy the Stern tables or the Williams tables, but it's just a much smaller selection, unfortunately. Okay, jeez.
I'm telling you, that's what I do like on every one of these games. The first ball always goes just right down the center.
Okay, what happens if I go full blast here? Okay, not too much.
Yeah, I always find the one issue that I always have with video pinball is that when you have a really big table like this, they can't have it all on screen at once. Where like even a really big pinball table, if I'm standing in front of it, I'm going to see the whole thing at one time.
Oh yeah.
And so depending
absolutely.
on how quickly the ball moves, you can kind of like. I often feel like that's why I'm losing my first shot, because the ball's just moving so fast that by the time it gets down near the flippers, like I don't have enough time to react because the camera's moving around.
I always feel like these are completely random.
That guy that you mentioned wouldn't have been able to prove the skill involved.
No, I would have decided against him.
Yeah, you would have sentenced him to 30 lashes for wasting court's time.
Oh no! I was gonna say that one would have been clearly my fault.
But so how are you? I realize that trying to talk to you while you're trying to focus on pinball might be part of the problem, but
He's got the little house now.
okay, so we can just screw around. Comparatively, how are you finding this table?
Oh, it's fine. It's the angle to get out of that lower section is pretty difficult with the way these two flippers here are oriented, because if I'm shooting from the lower left to the upper right, I'm gonna hit the bottom of that flipper, and there's not enough movement to like move it out of the way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a tough. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do that. This is fine. Like this shot here, even though I may not get it, but that's a fine shot. Good table.
Nice.
No problems with that kind of design. I like tables that have ramps and stuff. This has got demons and things, so that's, most tables don't have that, I suppose. But, it does, from that...
Except for the Aerosmith table, or Kiss pinball.
There has to be Kiss pinball.
Oh, yeah, there
absolutely is, yeah.
Is it terrible?
Well, it depends on how much you like Kiss.
So
yes. I always think about Kiss, like that episode of The Simpsons where Krusty the Clown does become a legitimate comedian for a while and then goes back to just selling out and licensing. Like, I always think about Kiss that way, that like Kiss isn't really a band. They're just kind of like a license.
Yeah. They only made music because nobody told them that they didn't have to.
Yeah, they could have just created this persona and gone that route.
They're just standing on stage doing nothing.
But the crowd is still going bonkers.
Quite frankly, it's an improvement.
Merch tables are by all exits.
Everyone it's like that concert where people got killed. They just riot to rush to the merch tables. That guy down on the right doesn't look like he's doing too well. Oh, there's the boss fight.
Oh, I see. Gotta.
Yeah, you gotta get it.
So, okay, I'm trying to figure out what. I'm assuming that the lit up icons down here are the number of bosses I've done, or I don't remember doing
no
any.
idea.
Oh, okay.
It's the score multiplier guy. Yeah, all of the Crush pinball games have pretty awesome music. I don't think I've ever looked up who did it, though. The company that made these also made a lot of, like, space shooters. I can't remember the names of any of them right at the moment, but I feel like that makes a lot of sense. Like, on some level, all of these games kind of feel like arcade shoot-em-ups, too, just with the way things explode and the... Oh man, double boss fight. Just with the way things are constantly exploding.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the little pagoda is really in the way trying to get it up to the third level.
Yeah, once you're up here, you gotta try your best to stay up.
Oh no!
Oh,
no. Sprayed fog everywhere. Alright, who are we gonna get? No, these guys again. Oh, you killed one of them.
That was quick.
I think the ball got kind of stuck behind him,
yeah.
so he got hit like 5 or 6 times in a row.
Do I have to clear out all these little...
Yeah. Oh, maybe not.
You have to clear them out to bring that particular head
Oh,
back.
son of a gun.
That's really hard.
How many different bosses are there?
I think there's like 5 or 6. I'm trying to remember if I think I've seen Fujin and Raijin too, the lightning gods. Because I've seen oh nice. It kind of seemed like you used tilt there to get it back on track.
I did. Not strategically, more flailingly.
Still got you back on board.
That's not working.
Did you manage to get an extra life? Nope. Well, I think, unless anybody else feels differently, I think we've had a chance to see... Oh, you got the top score, too.
Okay, let's see if I can do this correctly this time.
Well, you did much better than that ZV guy.
There we go.
Alright. So, I realize I already asked you for your takeaway on this, but you think it's a half-decent table, then?
Oh yeah, no, I play through this. I'd be curious to see what some of the other bosses are like, because if they're all that kind of, just the enclosed square, I can imagine that getting frustrating if there's not decent variety with their attacks or whatever.
It's all, it's all kind of that same structure, like with the bug lady and the Fire guys. And like I said, I think I've seen a Fujin and Raijin once as well.
Granted, I'm being a little kind of silly here because, like, with the physical pinball table, like, a lot of them will just have, like, fundamentally the same 5 shots, and then it's just a dot matrix screen at the top saying, like, oh, now you're hitting Frankenstein. And then, like, now you're hitting the Mummy. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, I'm doing something different.
Yeah.
Like, so,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a lot of the real pinball tables, it's mostly that little screen that you're seeing anything on. Well, anyway, thank you for joining us here today, Tim, for offering your input on maybe my favorite pinball game. I'm trying to think. I do like some of the others, but this one's definitely top tier in my book.
I'd take it over Space Cadet Pinball any day.
Is that a really bad one?
It's the one that came with Windows.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, next time we'll have to have you come back to play the Star Wars pinball tables.
Okay.
I know what a big Star Wars fan you are.
Yeah. I'm not.
Just had to clarify that. Anyway, well, as always, we've been Team Brothership. I've been Mike.
I'm John.
And I'm Tim.
Thanks for joining us today, everybody. We'll see you real soon.